What's up, guys? How are you? It's your boy Ebot coming back at you with a quick video. Two topics I was thinking about that I wanted to talk about and address, because I've been thinking about it, read some stuff on it, and a lot of the stuff is still pretty vague, but I see a lot of ramblings, people running with it on all types of YouTube channels, trying to make big things out of it or negativity out of it, and really not using a lot of logic and sense when they come and talk about it, especially when it comes to the Sony fan base and the Sony side, because it's always trying to make it seem like negative Xbox, even though one of these is referring to Microsoft and Sony themselves. So I'll start with the first topic, because your famous boy MBG loves doing hot takes all the time, even though he gets ratioed all the time, gets made look like a dummy, or make look like he's some type of person with no really thought process, and gets clowned. But anyway, he there's ramblings going around. There's this dude that was on I think it was a Reset era, a Reset Reddit a blog. There's a guy going by the name of Heavy008, talking that he was self-proclaiming that he was a Bethesda ex-employee, and that he was working on Starfield, and that the Starfield engine is garbage, that it's no good, that the game looks horrendous, that it plays horrendous in the flight scenes, going from planet to planet, all types of claims and stuff like that. And of course, people like MBG make these videos real quick, and Jason Schreier was involved from Bloomberg, going around trying to feed real quick, see if that was true, because he loves trying to find negative Xbox news and claims that he's an Xbox fan, but he's a fucking full of shit, like always. And then supposedly another guy called SkillZI or something like that, or SkillZI, said that those claims weren't true, that he never worked for Bethesda, and that is false. And so he had reached out, I think, to Schreier, or Schreier reached out to him, but Schreier hasn't made no type of tweet or claim about it or nothing, but he's real quick to make stupid claims and tweets about that the Microsoft deal is not going to go through, that the government's not going to allow it, etc., all types of dumb shit. But again, look, when it comes to things like that, it's very hard to tell, because people in the industry and in the internet and social media today, or nowadays in the world we live in, you can easily hide yourself, right? Or you could easily make up some type of document or false paperwork to make it seem like you're legit, even if you're not. And it's very hard to tell, right? Who's who, unless you've known these people for years and know for a fact that they worked for these companies or set companies, and like somebody like Phil or Aaron or Larry Herb, or Mike Ybarra, we know these guys are the real deal. Or Ken Lobb, you know what I mean, or Jay Rano, those guys been there forever, like Yoshida and Mark Cerny, Sean Layden. These guys were certified official. We know these guys are in the industry. Corey Barlog, Neil Druckmann, that been there for a long time. So those guys, for a fact that when you see something, it's the real person. But when you hear things like this through forums or blogs or a little tweet, it could be anybody. And again, if this is really an ex-employee, you also got to take into account that if he left in bad terms, his goal is going to be to burn where he came from, right? Because he wants to taint the project, the company, whatever the case may be. But he didn't say that it was a bad place to work for. He said it was a good place to work for. He was just trying to claim that the game and graphic engine or engine that is being built on is garbage or is bad. And again, could it be true? Yeah, it can. It could be true. But at the same time, it could be false, right? So you have to take it with a grain of salt, like the term says, because we don't know. And usually when games are very close to coming out or being shown off or something like that, especially in the gaming industry, even in the movie industry, it happens. You tend to see that drama starts coming out, or some type of hoopla, especially nowadays, because people love tainting stuff and messing it up and making it to something negative just for the sake of it's fun, or it's funny to them, or they want to see it fail. So you can't really take it serious, because anything is possible. You don't know the motive, right? You don't know the scenario. It could be somebody just want to troll because it's an Xbox exclusive now, and they don't like Xbox, and so they want to make the game look bad. Or it could be that the person worked there, was burnt, and they owe him money, or they didn't pay him what he wanted or what he thought he was worth, and so now he wants to screw the whole company. And then, obviously, if it's true, we're going to find out when the end product comes out, or when it's shown that something may not be right, or that it has some issues or problems, because it's going to be evident either in the presentation, a demo, or when you play the game in its final form. So these things, even though they could raise an eyebrow, the best thing to do is just take it one day at a time, because we don't know, right? The same way people use the logic to take it one day at a time, saying that God of War, the one that's supposed to come out, Ragnarok, is not a DLC, even though the original creator, David Jaffe, said that that's what it looked like, because he said it's what it looked like. He didn't say that's what it was. He said that's what it looked like. And it does, because a lot of the same assets, the same level base, areas are exactly the same from the original game, with the exception of it maybe having snow now instead of just being a dry land, or maybe it's raining as opposed to being dry land, or maybe there's fire all around as opposed to a dry land, but it's still the same area, same assets, the same artifacts, everything where it's placed, where it is exactly the same. And even how the animations, or even the NPCs that you fight are exactly the same. That is why you see it and it looks like a DLC. When a game has new areas, new levels, new bosses, new weapons, new move sets, then that's when you know work was put in and it's something entirely new. You see what I'm saying? That's how people base things and judge them when they see them. So what I say to you guys in the Xbox community is basically, don't fray, don't fall for it. Can it be true? Like I said, yes, it can. Can it be false? Absolutely. Can it be somebody just trolling? Of course. Can it be somebody that's just scorned because he left in bad terms at Bethesda? Absolutely. Anything's possible. So the best thing to do is just wait and see. When the final product comes out, we're obviously going to know. The same way we found out with games like Cyberpunk when it had issues, or games like Last of Us 2, or games like Horizon and Game GT Sport, for example. We're going to find out. As the consumer, we're going to know. We're going to find out. It cannot be hidden, because we're the ones paying and playing, and we're going to see it. So just sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride, because most likely, even if it has issues, by the time it comes out, it will be resolved. And if the game is pushed back, then we'll know that the story had some validity and they needed more time for polish and to make the game a better product for us. That's how you see it. It's not like we're, in freight or in, or yearning for more products because we don't have them, because we do have them. We have more products. We have more things, so it's not like we got to be concerned that there's not enough games to play out there. There is. So that's what I say, and that's my take on that. Next thing, the topic that I want to talk about, like I said, is the whole thing about advertisements that Microsoft and Sony, I believe as well, are considering for free-to-play games. And I see that a lot of people, like Colin Moriarty, they're going all crazy and talking about all these topics, saying things that are just like MBG, that are just hot takes, when he said that this person that opened his mouth about Bethesda broke NDA. When you don't work for a company anymore, my guy, MBG, you're not under NDA because you don't work with them anymore. Unless it's through legal actions and through courts. And then if you are through NDA, then you open your mouth, you're going to get sued. So more than likely, no, he wasn't on the NDA because nobody's going to take that risk of getting sued and getting, into bigger trouble and losing an opportunity of ever working within the industry. That's a hot take. Like, you got to use your logic. Same thing like with Colin, trying to say, oh, it's because, most people are now conditioned that they don't want to buy nothing. And he was basically indirectly referring to Game Pass, which go check out my brother Unlimited Productions because he did a really nice video on it, really good, really insightful, always very thorough, like he quick to the point, like he always manages to do. But go check him out, go subscribe, he does great content. So anyway, he was talking about, I see all these talking about the advertisement, and the way I see it is like this. For a free-to-play game, it makes a perfect sense. It makes perfect sense because we don't live in the days anymore of back in the day that games had advertisements in them because developers wanted to give it an authenticity feel, right? An authentic feel, a realistic feel. For example, like the way when you play Crazy Taxi, you were a cab driver, you stopped in different places to pick up passengers and take them to another place. So to give it a more realistic feel, Sega managed to get a lot of IPs and licenses of certain companies to add it to the game, like Kentucky Fried Chicken, McDonald's, FYE, Tower Records, Virgin Games or Virgin Records, just to name a few. They all used to be in the game. You would stop, pick up a passenger, and take them somewhere else, and that was to make it feel realistic, based on our reality in our world, even though it's still a video game. And in those days, the companies like Sega had to pay those companies money to have those advertisements in the game because they're using their product license. So it's called product placement, the way they do it in movies and in commercials. So you had to pay those companies for that. That's why when you see the new versions of games like Crazy Taxi today in the Xbox Live store, for example, they don't have no more the McDonald's, the Tower Records, the Virgin Games, the KFCs anymore in the game because the licensing has to be renewed and they have to keep paying. And if the game doesn't really sell anymore or doesn't make enough money anymore, right, then obviously, excuse me one second. Sorry about that, guys. So like I was saying, the other thing is that when when they had these advertisements, that, again, like I said, they don't have them anymore because of the fact that you got to keep renewing for those advertisements and you got to pay. And since the games are older, they don't sell like they did when they first were available in a bigger abundance. Obviously, you can't afford to pay them, those set companies, because you don't make enough money off of it, and the money that they want is absurd. They want big time dollars because they think that because it's in a video game, it's making all this money, and they don't know that's not how it works with video games or in the industry. So nowadays, with something like a free to play, it makes sense because now what it is, it's kind of vice versa. If these companies come and they agree, right, and they set advertisements, right, into the games with these free-to-play games, they have to pay companies and developers that make these games to add the advertisement into their games so that they can advertise their products. Like when you go online and you see in the internet when people get monetized and they put commercials. Those commercials and those advertising products, they're paying YouTube to have it there when they monetize these channels, and that's how they get money, and that's how they're able to pay the YouTubers and influencers, because of the fact that they get the money from those people with products. Unless you pay for the premium product, to YouTube directly to not have commercials, and you're paying them the money directly for you to have your channel without any commercials. That's different, right? You're paying for it. So that's how they make money. So it's the same idea when it comes to free to play. They putting these advertisements for these product placements in the game, and these companies are going to pay developers and publishers to have those advertisements in the game. So in theory, long term, it's supposed to help us, the consumer, from not having to worry about to pay for more things within, right? Within the actual game with currency, real life money. But I also saw that they're doing stuff where you have, if you do certain things with these advertisements in the game, they'll give you perks and you'll unlock like certain types of, I guess, like let's say a costume, a certain weapon, a skin, whatever, a skin pack, whatever. Now, those are things that you can probably pay for, which will pay the advertisers, but those are all done by choice. You don't have to do it. It's not being forced on you. It's something that you do if you choose to. So yeah, long term, you'll end up paying way more than just $60 or $70 for a game, but it's all, again, by choice. And most of these people are considered whales, right? That's what they call them. But not everybody does that. There's not very much people that spend money like that. And if they are, then that's the only game they dedicate their time in, and that's the only game they really play, and that's why they do it. It's not like somebody like me, for example, that I play all consoles, all systems, rather, buy all types of games, whether it's digital or physical, in the medium, and I enjoy everything, not just one set game, like let's say a Fortnite, right? That's free to play. No, I don't just play that. I don't even play Fortnite because I don't like the game. I like some of the character design, so I'll collect the figures, but I don't like the game personally, right? It's not my cup of tea. So it makes sense that they put these things in there. And as long as it's done correctly and not over monetized where people have to spend money for these advertisements to be there, then there's not a problem with it. I don't see a problem with it. And there shouldn't be a problem with it. Because, like I said, in theory, if these companies are paying the developers and publishers to put the advertisement in the game, that means they can charge less to the consumer for certain things and give you more as far as content for free. Because they're getting paid and making money with these set advertisements. Like they said something like, for example, if you're playing Forza and the car in Forza will have a digital billboard on the car pasted on it with an advertisement, right? That's to give you an idea of what they're talking about, kind of what they want to do if they go along with it. But if you look at games like even something like Alan Wake, somebody had posted up a picture where one of the billboards said Verizon, right? And Verizon, at that point, they had to pay Verizon to have it in the game for authenticity, for a realistic feel based on our reality. That was completely different, right? Those days are really not done much because everything's so expensive now that just to use somebody's, product placement is very expensive. It's very expensive. It's like the cars in Forza and GT Sport. That's why they charge so much money, and that's why the licenses don't last as long, and they have to renew them, and they'll, expire, and they delist the games because you have to keep paying Mitsubishi, you got to keep paying Toyota, Chevrolet, Ford, any car that's based from any car maker, in the car industry, you have to pay them. So they'll do a contract for, let's say, 5 years, the duration of the game, until they make the new one, and then they'll renew it for the new game, but they won't do it for the old game. That's why they get, essentially delisted, unless you have it physical and it's there forever. But that's the reasoning behind it, because it's very, very expensive. So to put advertisements in free-to-play, to maintain the free-to-play games with some type of revenue coming in from actual product placement, makes a whole lot of sense. So to get hot takes and say, oh, it's Game Pass fall, because dudes don't want to buy games, when it already came out that because of Game Pass, players are buying 40% more games because of Game Pass. Because they discover games that they thought they probably didn't like, or they didn't like and didn't know they're going to like it, and end up buying it, ultimately buying it through Game Pass. Or go out and buy a physical, whichever way they choose to do it, or both ways in some cases. So Game Pass, that discovery doesn't hurt games. Plus, every developer that puts their game on Game Pass, and I don't know why these guys try to act like they don't know this, when this has been said clear as day by Phil, Aaron, Sarah Bond. Everybody that works in the industry have said this, that talks about Game Pass. That developers get paid up front. The report came out that over $2.6 billion, with a B, billion dollars, has been paid out by Microsoft thus far to this point in the last 3 to 4 years that Game Pass has existed. So if they're paying this type of money, and this report is actual factual report in a document, why isn't this so hard for people that make videos like Colin Moriarty, right, for example, to forget to mention that every time they talk? Developers are making more money through Game Pass because they're getting paid up front, and the game gets discovered risk-free by 25 million people that are subscribed. And if they like the game, they'll go out and buy it. Whether it's physical or digital, it's up to them, or maybe both formats like I do in a lot of cases. So there's no denying that. There's no arguing that. And not only that, that game that is being bought through Game Pass digitally, whether we like digital medium or not, because of the DRM or licensing issues, the developer makes more money. They make 75% of that money. If you're buying it through the store, and I hate to sound like a fucking broken record, that game, they only get 30%, because all the other percentage has to be divided with everything else, whether it's the distributor, shipping, storage, shelf space, or partnership with stores like Best Buys, like GameStop, like Walmart, like Target, for example. Okay? This is why a lot of developers are leaning towards more with digital, and they're not bringing out their games physical right away, because they make more money that way. And then afterwards, you'll see that they'll release the game physical, so that the people that like physical can have the option to have it physically as well. Which I think it works fine as long as they bring it out physical as well. Like Psychonauts 2 needs a physical copy, like they did with the Medium. It needs a physical copy because it works and it helps and it makes both sides of the coin happy, the digital front and the physical market, as far as us, the consumers. So I don't understand what's all this, oh my God, why? Acting all this concern when there's nothing to be concerned about. It makes perfect logical sense. And they need to stop skewing this and like it's something else, like it's more than what it is. Like they're trying to just condition us and jerk us to make sure that we keep buying digital and we never have ownership to our medium. Listen, man, if you have your damn gamer tag or your PSN account or your Nintendo account with your information, with your damn password, and you don't forget it, you have access to all that stuff you bought all the time. You never lose access to it. So stop using that fake narrative that you don't have ownership, because you do. That's the reason why Stadia hasn't worked out and has failed, because that's completely different. You pay for the game, but you have nowhere to store it, nowhere to have access to it, and you never own it. You have to always keep buying into Stadia, to the actual service, so that you can access the game. If not, you can't, because you have to buy that game, but it's never in a hard drive on your console, because there's no hardware where you can store it and keep it. So if it's offline, you can't even play it. Can't do none of that. That's why Stadia has failed, because you can't own it and store it and play it offline at any point. That unless a game is always online, that's different. That's why I don't even buy those type of games, because there's no point. That's why GT Sport is having, 7 is having such a problem, because it's online only game as well. So again, like I've said before, it's nothing to get upset or carried away about. I think it makes perfect sense. It's just to help fund the game in another way, instead of just asking for consumers themselves to put in money to keep the game going, even for the advertisements. You're not paying for the advertisements. The advertisements are there so they can do product placement, so those companies can pay the developers and publishers to put it in the game, and while they advertise their product, they pay them money, or a certain percent, to put, in their pocket, and they can put that money towards the game. I mean, it's not rocket science. That's how I see it. If I'm wrong, and there's other places and documents saying that no, this is to charge actual gamers for this or that, please let me know. Put it down in the description below. Link me the link, and I'll look at it, and I'll redirect myself, and I'll try to correct myself in a future video about my statements here now today with this video. Guys, thank you for joining. Thank you for stopping by. Thumbs up if you liked the video. Thumbs up, down if you didn't. Share it with someone you think might like it. As always, thank you for all my brethren and brothers to helping me out, because without you, my channel will not be sustained. I'm on the road to 1,000 subscribers, very close to it. I'm almost there. I'm at 145 or 43. I'm so blessed. I feel so humbled. I know it's been a long journey, but like I said, I do this for the passion and the love, not for anything really else. But with help and with people sustaining me, with that help, I can grow more and do better things, better content, and continue to do it, and make it a lot easier for me, in my pocket, in my mind, whatever the case may be. Again, thank you, because without you, my channel would not be sustained. If you're new to the channel and you like what I'm doing, you like what you see, hey, thank you for stopping by. I'm very humbled. If you subscribe, it means the world to me, because I know you didn't have to. But since you did, I consider you now part of mi familia. As always, guys, you can find me on social media on Instagram under C_respect. On Twitter, you can find me under @mosthistorian. Capital M, capital H, all one word together, all the rest of the words lowercase. On Twitch, you can find me under he_bot8 powerful gamer. The only word that's capital is H. They're all together, one word, and all lowercase. And then also, you can find me on Xbox Live and Nintendo Switch under HeBot8. And on the PSN Network, you can find me under alffellfromsky. You guys, thank you. If you want to help me out in any way, shape, or form, from the kindness of your heart, to help me grow, to help me keep sustained, to help me get bigger and better, from the kindness of your heart, because you want to, not because you have to, there's a way you can do it with my Patreon and PayPal information down below. Or if you want to donate anything to the channel that you want me to review and highlight and showcase, I will be an honor for me to do so. I will be more than humbled to do so. Just hit me up on the DMs on one of those social platforms, and we'll work out the particulars. So guys, this is your boy HeBot signing off. Love you. To the next one. Keep it gaming. Xbox for life. Like a sickness that can't be cured. That's my saying. That's my slogan, people. Don't get triggered. It's all in gaming. It's all in good fun. Till the next one.